Hey, guess what? It's me. Happy Sunday. First, I have to congratulate my son Christian, who graduated from high school yesterday. Uh, and I think he's going to, think he hasn't decided at University of Texas, and I think it's going to be an agriculture business. So you're going to have another man free when I'm gone. Hopefully, he loves this business as much as I do. I can tell you one thing, he knows all the bad things. He hears me scream all the time. Okay, I want to talk a little bit more about consumption this week. I'm a big believer, and the produce business is going to be better after this pandemic is over than it was before. And I'll explain a few things, and then I'll give you some of my stories. I always like stories. Uh, I just think we had unprecedented growth. Retail sales are up between 17 and 40% on a weekly basis. It hasn't stopped yet. We had a great opportunity to get some new customers, to increase in-store and online sales. That our story, people know that fruits and vegetables are a healthy lifestyle. Now people are cooking more. And once the restaurants open up, yes, I know people, we're enjoying going to restaurants, but I think people are going to cook home more often, and I think cooking home, people are going to buy, the servings are going to be bigger vegetables than they are in a restaurant. So that's only my thing. So, okay, what did you do? What are you going to do to sustain this growth? To keep the customers engaged, to increase those sales, to sustain it or actually increase it, to build on what you've already done. You had unprecedented growth, right? You had people that were probably never going to shop online, or they would have done it a few years down the road, but now they became your overnight customers. If you did a great job, something I said, you gave them great produce and they didn't want to send it back, you're probably going to have a customer because, people like convenience. I mean, look at Amazon. So if you did that, you have more traffic. Maybe you picked up new customers. I've done every aspect of this business. I had retail stores, and I'm going to tell you a few stories of what I used to do when I had my retail stores. But you have, when you lose a customer, there's nothing worse in retail. It's harder you're never going to get a customer back that you lost. Very, very hard to do that. It's easier to get a new customer. So if you did your job and you actually, maybe people didn't want to shop too many different stores, and now you have that customer, you got to try not to lose them, right? I mean, that's the obvious thing. So hopefully your displays are right. I don't have to beat you over the head with pricing, and I'm going to get into pricing when I have my own stores. So, are you educating and engaging your customers? Let me explain. When you accountants took over the produce business 30 years ago, you thought a guy making $7 an hour back then was better than your produce manager, and because you cut expenses, you don't realize what a real produce manager does. When I had stores, I was a salesman. I always, I was around, I picked out melons for people. I said, why don't you try this? Have you ever tried that? Did you ever try this? That, you have to educate your whole staff to do that. That will guarantee you increase sales. Also, kids in my store could eat anything they want. I didn't care. I don't care if cherries were $5.99 a pound, which they weren't back then when I was in the retail business, but if they wanted to eat 10 cherries, I didn't say a word. Why? Those people are going to be your customers someday. So, and if they're fruit and vegetable customers, you captivate them when they're young, and they'll be with you forever. And it's a pretty nice thing to do. And these things work for me. I mean, I got to tell you something. If you read my history, I started on a push cart in New York City. I once sold 300 cases of bananas. 300 cases of bananas in 3 hours, dressed as a gorilla. Okay, I made produce fun. That's right. That was in a day, by the way. £3 for $1. You know, how many, well, some of you still could sell bananas, £3 for $1. But these are the kind of things I always had indoor specials, some in-store specials. So I always kept my customers engaged, and they really appreciated it. I always gave them bargains. Let's talk about bargains. I don't know how most of you price up this stuff, but if I go into stores, and I'm pretty knowledgeable about what stuff costs, even the things that I don't handle. I know the FOBs on different markets and everything. So I go into some stores, and it looks like it's X% across the whole store. Let's say it's 40, 60, 80%. It's just across everything. That's really not the way to run a produce store. There may be an item that's you could grab on, and there's an item that, you know, when something is really high, when something was really high, I gave it away for the customer. You know why? Because they came to my store and said, oh my God, the other stores are $3.99 and you're like $2. You know, I didn't have to make money on everything, but I made it on other things. Let me tell you another thing. My retail stores were in New Jersey. We used to call them the suits. Yeah, the suits used to come in from all those big chains and look around my store, and you knew who they were. They look around my store and go, how could he sell for that? How could he sell for that? You know how I could sell for that? Because I really know the produce business. They don't. You know, they listen to their accountants. So I'm sorry I keep on picking at accountants, but I'm sorry, you were the guys that wrecked the produce business. So my ideas going forward is, let's keep that consumption up. Let's talk about produce more often, because people talk about produce more often. Now you got to keep that going. I read an article about the avocados, how I think they spent the last 5 years on $208 million. That's why it's probably close to one of the number one volume movers now, because people all know about avocados. So let them all Bruce. Okay, we're going to talk about markets. Only a few this week. First, I got to talk about the red pepper market. Anybody in Southern California knows it's been very, very hot this time of year. And a lot of things got burnt up, and their supplies are going to be very, very light. So the lower prices of the last couple of weeks are not going to be going forward. I think red peppers will be hot. I'll give you another little bit of history. By the time you start in Central California, Bakersfield, everything, they always say before July 4th, but it's never before July 4th. It's always around July 7th. So you're not going to have them for the holiday. Well, not that you're not going to have them. They're going to be tight for the holiday, and then they come on after the holiday. So when you really want them, you don't have them, and then when you really don't want them, you have them. But that's produce business. So I have to tell you another fact for some of your old timers. There are new Mexican peppers, okay? There are peppers that were grown that we had all winter long. They stopped. And if they didn't stop, you're going to have problems. You can't use them anyway. They got to keep them closed. They have new peppers that are just starting. They started last week. I got to tell you, I have peppers in the ground for September, October, and November in Mexico. Just grow them at different elevations. And so that's something that we haven't done before, but we're going to try it. So there are new peppers. And I just think this pepper market is going to be real good. A couple of my growers told me they're going to be very light till about Thursday of next week. And one of the growers is going to be very light. So hold on to your hats, boys and girls, any kind of demand. And with a little more restaurants opening up and a little more people getting out, I think that could be something fun. I really never talk about corn, but Patrick Kelly had a thing. I have to mention Patrick. The produce industry blog. Joe, check it out. It was National Corn Day. There's no corn. If you know anything about corn right now, corn is real short. It got tortured. I think at Hunts Point Market, I think they got over $50 a box for corn. So I guess no five for $2 for 4th of July. Well, that's the way it doesn't look now. Watermelons, some still in northern Florida. You got to go down to Georgia. You know, Georgia got a lot of rain, so watermelon deal's been tough all along. And avocados, you got them from Peru, Mexico, and that much steady, but there's more deals around. I'm starting to pack my mangoes this week. I'll have Artufos, Tommy Atkins, and Kent's, and I would appreciate any business. The first maybe 10 loads. Will be in, I'm sorry to say, a stock box because there was a problem with our box order, and it's going to be about 7 days, 10 days before we get it. So anybody that needs mangoes, I'm going to have them. I'll have them for the next 2.5 months. And I think that's about it. What do I always say? Love you, love the produce business. Let's all love one another. I don't want to talk about what's going on in our country right now because I'm a veteran and I don't like it. And NFL, I got to tell you, you want to kneel? I'm sorry. You want to kneel? I didn't watch it for 3 years. I won't watch it for the rest of my life. I'll watch soccer. And that's it. Or baseball. Hopefully the Yankees start playing soon. That's it. Sorry if I ruffled anybody's feathers, but just the way I feel. And I always tell people, with me, you get it right out of me. I'm not a backstabber. If I'm going to stab you, I'm going to stab you in the chest. I'm going to look you in the eye. So, that's it. Love you. Love the produce business. I want you to all take care. And maybe we could all go on vacation to the country of Chaz. Have a great week. I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.